I believe that should probably go all the way down to the foul pole. I still think that we should leave netting behind the home run fences alone.
Hi, everyone, and thank you for coming back to another recording of Foul Ball Safety Now Talks. I'm here with Brianna Ludwig. Before we turn the tables over to our guest host for the day, what I'd like to do is recap a little bit about how Foul Ball Safety Now came about. Foul Ball Safety started back in 2019 based on something I saw on television, which was disturbing. And being a baseball fan, I had advanced knowledge that this was also par for the course and that this could be happening at any time where potentially a ball or bat could reach fans. About the same time I started, NBC was in the middle of a long investigation, which people can see at the website Foul Ball Safety Now, implying how many people may have reported to first aid during an 8-year period from 2012 to 2019, 8 baseball seasons. And it was disturbing because if you took the numbers from the teams' first aides that complied and gave the NBC reporters the information, if you extrapolated all the other teams, maybe 5,000 people reported to first aid over 8 years. So I had learned about that soon after I got involved with Foul Ball Safety Now full time. Did not include the 5 times as many more minor league games and partner league games. There's about 5 times as many more professional games in all leagues other than MLB, 2,400 plus MLB games and 14,000 other games every single year on the professional level. And then also ESPN came out with a 5-minute report about a short they produced, which I thought was very graphic. We call that Exhibit A on the website, Foul Ball Safety Now. You can check out Exhibit A, which is a 5-minute ESPN production. And it's disturbing to see. And even after 700,000 people had viewed this when it was being shown, and 4,000 people made comments, most of them were ridiculous comments, but a lot of them were intelligent comments because there were 4,000 of them. So I'm glad that there were intelligent comments that came through. The conversation never really kind of took off. And I guess I'm the only one left standing that's really committed to putting this story out there. It would be great if NBC or ESPN called Brendan and I for all of our data because we've interviewed more than 80 people and we have a lot of testimonials from baseball players. More than 30 baseball players have spoken with us in long form interviews and have told us their own problem or their own dilemma or their own stories from when they were players. And we've also interviewed a lot of victims, people that have unfortunately lost loved ones, like Erwin Goldblum's wife, who got hit at the Dodger game and died a few days later, and then a few people that I had been introduced to that were blinded in one eye. Talk to those folks and get their information just on the record on how it was beforehand, how they thought about going to the game, and how they kind of left. Not in great shape. So we have all this stuff on record. So that's a little recap of Foul Ball Safety Now. And then the news is basically people can see the website Foul Ball Safety Now. You'll look at the Queens College investigation that's ongoing. We just put a letter out January 12th. That was our 5th letter. Our first letter did get an official response from the athletic director, and the college president knew about the letter that I had originally sent, but that was almost a year ago. Maybe it was about 8, 9 months ago. That was letter number 1 when the student athlete had contacted me at Foul Ball Safety Now and asked if he could speak with me about his situation, because at Queens College and maybe a lot of other colleges, there's some sort of compromise situation where the student athletes are concerned about hitting the balls over the sides during practice and games, as he mentioned to me that there was a elementary school right there on campus. And when I wrote my first letter, the tone of the letter was not implying that Queens College was maybe the only one. There could be a lot of other offenders that are putting their student athletes in a compromised psychological state of mind. They want to play the game free and clear. Everyone would want to play the game free and clear. So they're more open to talking about this, which is great. Some of the people that have been doing it for a while, they're more guarded. They're sort of set in their ways, and maybe it's just part of the culture of silence. But so be it. It's good that the student athletes can at least express themselves. And hopefully we'll find a few more along the way because student athletes are finding me because of posts I put on platforms like on Indeed. If they want to start discussions with their peers, I'm happy to help facilitate that. So that's really the news right now. Probably going to follow up on Seattle. Seattle had the broken bat incident during the playoffs a few months back when people were watching the playoffs. America saw a broken bat get over the net like a boomerang. And even the announcer, when sharing the replay of the broken bat incident, the video highlighted how it had gone over the net. And he even said, "Yikes, look out." And on why are broken bats allowed to fly into the seats business as usual 2025? Clearly, they know that their nets are not high enough. And if anyone saw that Mayhem commercial, which is nonstop on YouTube, that Allstate guy, and they were still showing that commercial from the summertime, I would think maybe they stop it because it's football season, but no, just saw it the other day. The Mayhem guy, he's at a park, the bat comes out of his hand, goes over the park fence, and it goes right into the window. And they're trying to sell Allstate. So it's a reminder that that bat, yes, does have a destination when it leaves someone's hand or if it breaks in half. In Seattle's case, it could have speared somebody in the heart. And nobody on social media said anything, but we're recording these things. People can see the T-Mobile link at Foul Ball Safety Now. So that's a little bit of a recap. I'm sure we'll get into a lot. We're excited to bring on our guest host who takes the reins where the tables are turned on Foul Ball Safety Now Talks, where our guests are prepared to bring us questions and lead the conversation. Brianna, how are you today?
Doing good, Jordan. Excited to have this conversation today with the both of you and shed some light on this issue. So, without further ado, I'd like to bring on our guest host for the day. He is a former professional baseball player who played in the partner independent leagues, Vincent Manson. Welcome, Vincent.
Lovely to be on. Thank you guys for having me. When you were talking about raising the nets, one aspect of go attending baseball games that is far superior, at least in my past experiences, and I still believe that is being able to get souvenirs in the forms of foul balls and stuff like that. So I mean, obviously, along the lines of the stadiums where hard foul balls and stuff like that, I'm all for the nets and everything. I can't remember who it was. Somebody thought about I wish I wrote down who I discussed that with, but I can't remember off the top of my head. Putting like a covering over the top so that there would be like if the fans were to look directly up, there'd be nets over top of them too. And the reason why that was
Uh-huh.
kind of vetoed was because of the souvenirs. I mean, I'm all for the Nets being up higher. I mean, probably, honestly, I believe the Nets should probably go all the way down to the foul pole. I still think that we should leave netting behind the home run fences alone for aspects of the
Uh-huh.
souvenirs. Most people are supposed to be paying attention. That's kind of an aspect of it too. And when you go
Uh-huh.
to ball games, you're kind of supposed to be paying attention. And then you got the Savannah Bananas who have the fans who are, if they catch a ball, they're out and the player in the game is out and they're actually a part of the game.
Right,
So,
right.
and they play in a lot of these stadiums and that could take an aspect away from them. Not saying they wouldn't evolve. I just obviously hate to see anybody get hurt. You never ever want an injury to ever happen to any fans at the game. I mean, they're over there for enjoyment, to see the show, to see the entertainment, to see some of the best ball players in the world do what we do. So you never want those things to happen. But I've been kind of thinking of in my mind of ways that you could still make sure that fans have access to these, foul balls or things and souvenirs in a safe way. I just not really
Uh-huh.
sure where my head's at with that. I'm trying to think, but might take a greater mind than
Mhm.
myself. But you get what I'm going
Well,
for there.
that's what it is. It's many minds coming together on this issue for the first time. And you know exactly what goes down at these meetings. There's always
Mhm.
ideas coming out. Everyone's barking out solutions, which is fine. If we get the room speaking, we really could leave after that, Vincent. Then our job is done. So it's really getting the fans on an equal playing field. But basically, giving them all the information that maybe they missed, maybe they didn't realize that business as usual would require somebody getting concussed all the time or it's basically it's not a matter of if somebody's getting hurt, it's when. And baseball players and the union is representing the minor leagues, the
Yeah.
affiliates. That's only a few years old, but at least there potentially can be an outlet for those young professional players who are aspiring to be players who are telling their parents to sit in certain sections, but maybe they're conflicted and maybe they would love to have more safety measures in place so it doesn't have to be lingering on their mind about the potential for getting someone seriously injured. So if I'm able to present, like, I guess I'm the only news organization that's been committed for the last 6 years, and I guess I'd like to present. And who are the influencers? Probably the 100 million fans who are not going to they're just gonna look at it and then make heads or tails over it, as opposed to management and even union. They may not wanna look at it so carefully because they may already have a lot of ideas about what is par for the course. You know, Vincent, they probably know to the penny. We have something Exhibit A1 on foul ball safety now. They know to the penny, certainly in the last decade or two, exactly where the balls go and how often. Maybe
Yeah.
that should have been presented to the fans winter after winter after winter, and then we would have had conversations about maybe this is inappropriate, maybe this is okay, maybe this is not appropriate. This is appropriate, something like that. We're in the dark. The fans are still in the dark, and once they're informed, then all the things that you mentioned, I think we can transition to. There's
Right.
no shortage of $6 baseballs out there. There's no shortage of the romance of young people getting a chance to meet, players and even have soft tosses with them to compensate something that may be lacking in the future, as opposed, instead of the random foul ball where maybe coming at 88 miles per hour and 6-year-olds really have no business being there, and parents are not action figures and superheroes, they can't really defend them. What can we do instead? All of this will come about once more than 3 of us are talking about this. That's exciting. There's 100 million fans that I think have been in the dark, Vincent, and they deserve a seat at the table.
Well, that's fair. I mean, we perform for the fans. Without fans, there is no game. I mean, there is a game, but not to the extent in which we have it to this day. Fans are absolutely everything. I was always a big fan guy. Anywhere I was at, I would always, if a kid wanted my autograph, especially the kids, I never denied a kid anything. And that's the best part of it for sure. I mean, you can definitely still get that stuff done after the game and before games, even with the nettings up, because most of the stadiums I was at had the nettings pretty far down, if I can remember correctly, at least to the edge of the infield.
Yeah, I've been following that, and really, even improvements, they may look like an allusion to a solution, but Brianna and I know that even improvements are not solutions because people are self-reporting their injuries in 2025. They may not be on the news, but we're finding so many.
It's definitely gaining traction. I mean, when I was in college, 2015 to 2020, I was at a couple smaller colleges for baseball, and there were definitely some schools that didn't have netting yet and things up in place like that. But by the time I would say after COVID, right before COVID, most
Mhm.
of those universities that I was familiar with had adopted longer netting, so at least things steps are, going in the right direction to help with this issue. It's evolving like we agree upon. I'm sure things are gonna
Mhm.
continue to change in the next 5 to 10 years, specifically the next 5 years.
Yeah, there's definitely more netting in baseball today than ever before in history. It's not going back. They're not taking nets away. They continue to add netting.
Absolutely.
But we don't wanna paint the picture. I think a lot of the fans may have the wrong idea that because all of these extensions have seemingly been done, that now, certain areas are safe. Because, like Jordan was saying, we do have that report up on the website, the incidents reported 2025, that shows a very sadly long list, and this is more so at the professional, level at the 30 clubs. We didn't really even go into the other,
Yeah.
affiliates and
Well, I
things
mean
like
I
that.
mean, that makes sense. Pros hit the ball harder and throw the ball faster than any other level, and we're arguably doing it on average harder and faster than ever before. Granted, metrics haven't been around, at the level that they are now for very long, but
There's something that I'll just point out that in 2022, Commissioner Manford made a statement that by 2025, all teams would have all of the affiliates, so there's 120 affiliates, would
Yeah.
all extend their netting by 2025 as further down to the foul pole as possible. That's the way he mentioned it. But I was
Mhm.
wondering why you would announce it in 22 and not notify the fans in the summers of 23 and 24 to maybe stay home until 2025. That was something that I think was a bad move by them, because families will find out, like, well, when did they announce this netting upgrade? If they've recognized upgrades in 25, well, they announced it at the end of 22. They'd be like, well, why did they wait 2.5 years? They told us the last 2 summers to maybe stay home? If anyone has seen that 5-minute video produced in 2019, that horrific video that the world saw for the first time, it demonstrated just past end of dugouts could be suicidal. And you see little babies getting smashed by baseballs. There's still 30 to 40 cities, not necessarily MLB affiliates, but the partner league teams, 30 to 40, that still have no netting past end of dugouts. So you can go 45 minutes down the road in Illinois. Maybe there's one ballpark that has netting down to the foul pole. And I think there's about a handful of teams in Illinois, and some don't even have netting above some of the dugouts. So I guess MLB's doing experiments with them. They call themselves MLB partner leagues, but they're late to come to the extensions, if you get my drift. But I would love to have an agency that finally pays attention to the data that I can present at least, and then come back and tell us exactly what's appropriate, what's not appropriate, and something in the middle. Because if you don't have that, then I think you're going to still have fans in the dark in all of those 30, 40 cities for sure, where it's obvious if you see that video from 2019, if a judge saw that video from 2019 in his own city, he may deem it unsafe for anyone under a certain age and say they're not going to be sitting there anymore. And if 18 and older want to take a chance and take one to the neck, I guess they can, but it has to be like told, not once you get to the seat, Vincent, but told in advance. Once you get to the seat, it could be a sign, it could be a warning even on your cup holder. But last I checked, we're not superheroes and action figures, and we're not gonna get out of the way. So there's just more work and more news to present, and I think that's what these discussions do. Do you have any opinion on should there possibly be an inspection on maybe all ballparks should require a dialogue with a representation of like a fan group, somebody who can actually take the information in, know the data that MLB has, and, present it, demand to see what it really is, how many line drives go at 100 past the end of the dugouts on a regular
I mean,
basis?
sure,
Is it 1 a
cer
year or is it 18 in a year?
nice things available.
I don't think they're gonna share that data. If you look at my Exhibit A1 report, like, everything's available, but I think Major League Baseball is, worth billions of dollars. They could give you more than a warning on an e-ticket. They could educate us, but I feel like they've missed the boat on really telling us winter after winter after winter what really went down the year before and what could happen the following year. Just an education. It's like if they have the data, present it. If you wanna leave the status quo, they love ignorance is bliss, when it comes to the MLB, if they wanna leave the fans in that ignorance is bliss mode, well, I don't think that's right. I think once people understand more, their bliss is gonna turn to possible bitter. They haven't spent a dime on educating us. They've told you in microprint on back of tickets, and now they tell you on e-tickets. And then when you're already in your seat, they may spring an announcement on you. They may even show you on your cup holder to get out of the way, but, like, again, I don't think we're humanly capable once people see 2019 ESPN video, and there are 30 to 40 cities still operating that way.
Have you
Until the
ever, by
fans start
chance,
paying
reached out
attention
to
to it.
Jim Rice?
Yeah, yeah. Unfortunately, the Speakers Bureau was more, his thing rather than getting on a Brendan and I have interviewed 80 people, and he didn't really wanna be part of that with us, but yes, we heard about that story.
Yeah,
Is that
that
the
one's
story
one
you're
of the more
referring to?
notable ones for a little bit older
Yeah,
generation of baseball fans, but
yeah, yeah. Yeah, we've interviewed, Fay Vincent. He was the former commissioner. He passed early last year. I didn't even know till it came up in a conversation. We had a similar recording with, believe it or not, a pediatrician, neurologist, surgeon who was on a similar platform as you, Vincent, also looking for interesting opportunities. So, we've met some really interesting people that have come on with us, so we're excited.
Well, that's
And
cool.
he shared with us, some information. Was really interesting, and then we brought up the fact that we interviewed Fay Vincent. He was one of the folks that we were able to find that was willing to talk with us. We've also interviewed more than 30 baseball players who have a lot to say from their past, sometimes graphic stories or just lingering feelings, and they just wanna put it on the
Yeah,
table.
I
And that's what this is
truthfully
really all about. It's all about putting it on the table and let people know what they may have missed and know maybe some of the anxieties that players have been feeling for a long, long while. Yeah,
I mean,
that's all.
I can't say I've honestly never seen a true injury from a foul ball or anything in any of my professional college, high school, and experience, luckily. But I
Mhm.
mean, I grew up playing a lot of football. I had a brief college football experience as well. I mean, I have a slightly different attitude towards it, I guess. I mean, we all, if you're putting, I mean, we all know what we're getting ourselves involved into. We're playing dangerous sports, especially with me having been a pitcher and taking line drives off the head a few
Right.
times and things like
Yeah,
that. I
jeez.
mean, I get where I'm on both sides of the fence here, on this one.
Cool.
I obviously never want anybody to get hurt, but at the same time, everybody should have an understanding of what they're walking into. I mean, this is a professional sport. This is high pace, high speed, strong, some of the strongest men in the world, some of the best at our craft doing what we're doing. Accidents are going to happen, things are going to happen. And it's just unfortunately a reality of it. And I know that's not what your aspect of what you want me to say or what you're looking
Not
for, but
really. No, no. I mean, my job is to educate. I could also tell you there's 14,000 games in addition to MLB games, 2,400 plus
yeah.
MLB games and 20, there's 53 foul balls per game. And Brendan and I, we cut it in half to 25 because we didn't want to look like we were inflating anything. So 14,000 times 25 balls in a 9 inning game,
Oh,
that's
well,
a lot of
hell,
balls.
there's
It's
a hell of a lot of foul
350,000.
line games. I'll be the first to tell
Yeah.
you that.
If it's 25 foul balls per game, that's a lot of balls, not just making it inside the ballpark at 100 down the lines,
Yeah,
but also making it over the
absolutely.
sides like it hit the woman in Modesto, California. We were contacted by an attorney. Wire maybe 10 or 15 balls in a 9 inning game during batting practice and game time during a 3 hour period, either raining down on the pavement or raining down on the window and breaking it. And in this case, unfortunately, hitting the woman in the head. There should be some sort of this conversation. And now, yes, people can put two and two together on their own. And maybe you were implying that earlier. But when people can ask me, what has management done to tell their fans, you may scratch your head. I may scratch my head because we'll be searching for answers. We'll be like, well, they did put a warning way down on an e ticket and they expected you to find it and become educated. Well, they must have done more than that. Not really. Maybe when you got to the game and you were finally in your seat, not when you were at your kitchen table deciding whether the 4 and the 6-year-old should come to the game. They didn't really give us much, Vincent. I would love to be presented any data that professional baseball has educated us on about common sense. Now, yes, we should all have common sense, but keeping it in micro print and not really telling us in advance, the victims that we come across, they're not thinking on those lines. They're thinking about like, we didn't go to the game expecting this, and we came home like that. So I'm just saying, we wanna have information that we can present, and if it means that baseball can't, produce that, then the fans are gonna realize that maybe it was unsatisfactory, the information that was related all those years, and maybe their memories will be tainted to some degree, and they'll figure out somebody might have been blinded in the same seat they sat in that week. Oh, well, that's crazy. Yeah, well, it's reality because we know it. So it's just about presenting the news. We're not gatekeepers. We're fans. it may be sensitive for the players' sentiment because ultimately they were the ones in the game maybe hitting the ball. Yes, it was their job. With their generation before them did not make it easier for them. And now student athletes are conversing with me because they want to play the game free and clear. And I'm glad they have that instinct that they want to play the game free and clear. They don't want to worry about where the balls are going. And I'm hoping we can make that into a reality, or at least have a conversation about everything that we should all know before we go to the game. And I don't think we really got that information. I don't know. That's what we're doing. We're just making conversations. The three of us that will hopefully find parent alliances, people that have been going to games for years, and may rethink about how business is being done as usual, and maybe they'll have something to say about it. They'll get more pissed than I ever could. Okay, well, I have a
Yeah, well,
report for you.
keep
Tell me when you
keep
want to
banging
hear it.
away, keep talking to people,
That's what we
know?
do. We just want to present. You tell us how you feel, and that's how it is. And we hope, of course, the unbiased's come up to the table. I'm biased. Maybe you're biased. But we of course want all of our information on the table. Brianna, Brendan, we could leave and let them work it out. Check out the PowerPoint I put together, people. What do you think of that? That's all I can do, right? And as long as people
Right.
find me, I guess my gut is to stay the course and show up every week and present the news. It costs me money and it costs my time, but I'm glad to just keep on presenting things. And that's what we'll do.
Vincent, as a player, I know you said that you didn't have any firsthand experience seeing a fan get injured, but maybe you could shed some light as a player. How aware are you of where the foul balls and broken bats are going during the game?
Well, I was a pitcher, so I was always immediately aware because you can pretty much see them pretty easily off the bat. I guess I'm the closest one to him other than the catcher, but there was definitely a handful every game that had the nettings not been there, it would have been tough for the average person to catch for sure, or block or defend themselves from. There's no doubt about that. Because that's about all I've really thought about it from that aspect. I've usually been so toned into the games that I guess I'm not really paying too much attention to it in that regards. I apologize for that.
That's perfect. That's a perfect honest response. We appreciate that. I think this was a great recording, and it's always great to hear a player's perspective. And I think we can all bring more information to the table. And it's good to present everything that we're feeling and what we know. Basically, I'll continue doing this because I keep on finding new things to report about. So we just want other people
Yeah,
to
absolutely.
understand this reporting, and I think this is a great episode. And I want to thank everyone, and Vincent and Brianna, and we'll do it again soon. Everyone, thank you.